and I have constantly, probably the biggest complaint that I hear from women is I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I don't know how to get to the root of my fatigue. I've tried lots of things. I'm relying on coffee and sugar to keep myself going through the day. And there is 3 aspects to this, and I want to share with you my insights on this because this is really the core of how I work, and this is something that I have experienced in my own journey with really going, okay, why am I so exhausted? Why am I so, and we can often put up with it, like without really realizing. It's like, we just go through the day, we're just surviving. And I know around the time, so 11 years ago when I had my kidney out, I had a kidney tumor and all of a sudden had to get my kidney removed. Before that, up to leading to that time and afterwards, I really struggled with fatigue. I was very exhausted, and I look back and think about how I operated. I was very reliant on sugar. I actually didn't drink coffee. I drank a lot of tea. And I used to have massive naps on the weekend. Like, I was really exhausted. And I just remember thinking, how the hell do people get through life? Like, how do people have kids and get through this life? I'm only 26 and I am exhausted. I didn't have low iron. But what I want to share with you is my own experiences of fatigue and what I've now learnt and what I am constantly seeing time and time again. And I'm also going to tell you one of the biggest reasons why fatigue is such a problem, and women can never get to the problem. People can never get to the problem of it, the bottom of it. And it's the thing that no doctor will ever tell you, because they just don't have that insight to what I'm going to share with you. So when we're talking about fatigue, we're talking about energy, and people are like, I'm low in energy. And so energy to me is the real currency of health. If we're going to talk about fatigue, we want, okay, well, I'm exhausted. What am I saying? I've got no energy. What is energy? Energy to me is how you can output, like how much you can do, how much vibrancy you can do it with, and how much joy that you can do it with, how much lightness you can do it with. But also energy is also how you feel and how people feel in your presence. And so energy isn't just about how hard I can work out at the gym and if I can get all my shit done. It's like, what does it feel like when people are in my presence, and how do they feel? Because it's a reflection of how I feel. And what is my, like, we've got this energy field. An example of that is, when you walk into a room and there's someone who's got really, it's saying that my internet is very slow, but anyway, we'll keep going. When you walk into a room and you've got, someone's in a bad mood, and you can feel it before anyone has said anything. You can feel the vibe, right? You can feel the energy of that room. And so this is a really important point to get across, because energy is the real currency of health. But we're not just talking about how we can go about and do our days, it's also how we feel. And so when I'm looking at energy with someone, I've got my little whiteboard here. There's several aspects, and this really sums up the way that I look at health and the way I look at the human, because I'm holistic. I look at the whole person, not just one aspect of that person and go, what's wrong with this aspect? This person might come to me with one aspect that they really are struggling with, but I'm like, what's going on in the whole picture, and how are they all impacting, because everything's connected. And so the way that I like to explain it is going, okay, there's 3 aspects to energy. We're talking about energy, how we feel, how much energy we've got, how refreshed we feel when we wake up, how well we sleep, how calm we feel, what is our nervous system doing? And so we've got to look at 3 aspects. Number 1 is the biochemistry. So the physical is the physical symptoms. It's also the physical world that we live in, that 3D reality of the way we move around the world, how much we move, how much movement we get in our day, and how much we can move. That's physical, right? Physical symptoms that are manifesting. What signs and symptoms are we experiencing? That is also the physical. Then we've got the biochemistry. Now, the biochemistry, when we're talking about energy, is going, okay, the food we eat, the vitamins and minerals that we absorb, and then when we absorb them, we make hormones. What are hormones? Hormones are chemical messengers, and we make neurotransmitters. And there's a whole lot of processes that happen, and we need to get that energy from the food we eat into our cell and make energy. Now, energy, that currency of energy is called ATP, and that is the currency of energy in our body for our body to create. It's like a little tiny millions of little explosions that happen that actually create this energy, right? So we need that process to be working well from a biochemical aspect, and there's lots of different things that can impact that. It starts with the food we eat, and it starts with the vitamins and minerals that we absorb, and are we getting enough of those? So for example, things like iron, because iron is responsible for carrying oxygen around the body, so we need iron. We also need B vitamins, because B vitamins are involved in that process of in the cell of making ATP, right? We also need magnesium. So there's lots of different aspects of vitamins and minerals that we need for our energy to be well. Magnesium allows our nervous system to function correctly, and the nervous system sends messages throughout the body, okay? And so do hormones. And so we need vitamins and minerals to make hormones. Our thyroid is also very responsible for energy. And so when we're talking about energy, we're like, what's the thyroid doing? Is the thyroid working properly? Because it's responsible for our metabolism, how hot, how cold, how much we burn, and how much energy we've got. And if our thyroid is not working properly, we're also going to have fatigue and energy. So there's the biochemistry aspect, right? Then we got to look at the nervous system. And so when I'm talking about nervous system function, and I actually go often the other way around, but nervous system function, when I'm talking about the nervous system function, I'm talking about basically, and this is the bit that no doctor would tell you, what's happening, what state of alarm is my body in? Am I feeling calm and safe, or am I in a state of alarm? And is there that franticness where I'm just in survival mode? And when we're in survival mode, we make huge amounts of cortisol. We're in response. Our nervous system makes, our adrenal glands make cortisol. And that can then impact, we make cortisol and it comes in here, and there's a ripple effect with the biochemistry. Because cortisol is prioritized, cortisol affects the gut, it affects our thyroid, it impacts our levels of progesterone that we make, other hormones that we make. It has a big impact, right? The biochemistry, the chemicals that we absorb, also impacts the thyroid. So chemicals in our everyday environment impacts the thyroid. Vitamins and minerals that we absorb impacts the thyroid. But the state of our nervous system, aka stress, the state that we're in, are we in a state of alarm, or are we in a sense of safety? In other words, how safe do I feel in my body is the thing that often is the hugest impact of fatigue. And the other day, and I've seen this many times, particularly in the last few weeks, I've had quite a few clients where I've connected with them, we've been working together one-on-one, and when they first start talking to me, they're like, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. And here's the bit that no doctor will ever tell you. The reason that people are often tired is because they are not telling themselves the truth. They are making themselves wrong, and they're living a really big lie. They're living according to someone else's values or someone else's expectations. And they're not listening to that part of themselves that has the little knock on the door that's like, this is what I want. This is what you need. You're not listening to me. Now, that sounds pretty confronting, but I can tell you what, Most people are not telling themselves the truth in some shape or form. And the reason I know this is because this was me. So before I had my kidney out, I was in a relationship that I was not happy in, and I wanted to actually leave. And I did not have the courage to leave. And I was terrified. And it actually took me quite a long time after even my kidney came out to have the courage to leave. My nervous system was in such a state of alarm. I knew deep down that it wasn't right. I knew deep down that we were not right for each other. I didn't really ever feel like it was right. But because I was in such a state of alarm that I did not have the courage to leave, and I also did not have the courage to be honest with myself and tell the truth. Now, this resulted in many manifestations in my body. It resulted in suppressed anger. The other part of that was I also gaslighted myself. I did not know how to express my emotions. I did not know how to feel the uncomfortable feelings. And I used everything else under the sun to actually avoid the uncomfortable feelings because I did not want to deal with the truth or the reality or the fear of that. The uncomfortable feelings of feeling like I couldn't do it on my own, feeling like it was too scary, and the comfort of staying where I was easier than actually moving towards the discomfort. But eventually that got to the point where I could not lie about that anymore. And I left that relationship, and then I started doing work on myself and healing some of those and actually learning how to regulate my nervous system. And this has been a big part of my journey, and healing past traumas and wounds and learning how to feel more safe in my body. And my energy dramatically changed over that period of time. And it was also a combination of what I was eating and how I was looking after myself. But it wasn't until my nervous system really got regulated and really felt calm, and it didn't mean that there wasn't big, massive moments in my life after that happened. My mum passed away. I went through another breakup. But I really learned on a very deeper level how to regulate myself. And I look back now and my energy is completely different. And so what I see with women, and I had a client the other day who came to me because she was fucking exhausted, pardon my French. She was like chronic fatigue, like been looking for answers for years. And as soon as we got her to the point where she started to connect to herself, not make herself wrong for where she was, and actually acknowledge her own feelings and start to tell the truth and listen to that part of her that needed to be seen and heard, her energy has started to shift. And she has started to feel better, and she has tried many different methods under the sun, right? And so that to me is its testament that learning how to, if you want to deal with your fatigue and you've got chronic fatigue or you're dealing with constant low energy, you've got to look at 3 aspects of it. And often people will go, oh, what's wrong with the thyroid? What's wrong? Why are you not moving? Same with weight. What's wrong? You're eating too much. You need to move more. That's what most doctors will tell people. And the elephant in the room is, first of all, the biochemistry really needs to be looked at on a deeper level to get the foundation right, and then the nervous system needs to be addressed. We need to learn how to create a sense of safety for ourselves. We need to learn how to connect to ourselves on a level so that we do not need external things to validate ourselves. And often that's how we've been conditioned, and it doesn't mean that you don't get triggered, and it doesn't mean that you're like this calm monk. But the reality is, as soon as I started to regulate my nervous system, I can handle things a lot more. I'm a lot more resilient. I don't get zapped from energy. I'm not having to take massive naps. I can keep going. And it's also learning how to rest. And this idea that rest is bad, this has also been coming up quite a lot lately. Rest is not good. Rest is lazy. And I will be perceived as lazy. And my biggest fear is I'll be perceived as lazy if I rest. And rest is not okay. And that is often a belief that has been passed down from us from generation to generation. It's usually not your voice. that is rest is lazy. It's not okay to rest. So here, whose voice is it when you think about rest? What is your relationship to rest? How does that play out in your life? Are you able to rest? Or is there a sense of certainty because your nervous system has been in such a state of alarm for so long that there's actually certainty in franticness, in craziness, in drama, in I have this fear of missing out, or I have to do to try and I'm trying to get something from outside of me. I can't just be in myself, and not even having the awareness around it. And this is how burnout happens, because we actually don't know how to give ourselves what we need. We don't know how to honor, like talk, have that conversation with ourselves, and not beat ourselves up. And then we constantly give to everyone else. We don't know how to fill up our own cup. I'm constantly having the conversation with people and with myself. How am I filling up my cup today? What do I need? And when I don't honor that, I burn out. And so I've got to learn how to, part of fatigue, part of having a healthy nervous system is also setting healthy boundaries for myself and asking for what I need from the people that I need. Also knowing what I need, knowing what lights me up, knowing what my purpose is. There's so much to this, and this is really like at the core of it is listening to your heart and not living a fucking lie, not living someone else's beliefs or values of how you should be, being how you should be, being how you want to be, and finding healthy ways to actually meet your needs so that you're not going and trying to find, not subconsciously going and meeting your needs in an unhealthy way. This is the bit that they will never tell you. This is the answer that you will never get from the doctor, because the reality is, unless you're ready to be honest with yourself, the fatigue will keep going. And the stress will keep going, and you can keep eating and address the nutrients, but until you actually start to go, I've got to learn how to value myself, I've got to learn how to love myself, and if I don't do that, my health is never going to be fully vibrant, because there's a level of, if I feel like I'm not worth it, I'm not going to rest. If I feel like I'm not worth it, I'm going to constantly self-abandon and put everyone else first. If I feel like I'm not worth it, I'm going to constantly be trying to prove myself to everyone else in the world. And that's exhausting. Like, that is really exhausting. And so I can't be present in my body. I can't have that connection with myself. I can't enjoy life. I can't live. I can't play. And so this is the bit that no one talks about, but time and time again with my own self and with the people, the beautiful women that I'm working with, is we've got to learn how to connect to ourselves and start to give ourselves love on a much deeper level, so that we're not reliant on other people, on other people's approval, because that is just exhausting. And we will never prioritize our own self-care, our own eating, our own thinking that we're worth spending the money on our own health, knowing that we're worth spending our money on our own health, that we need to move our body. We understand that the things we need to do to actually maintain our equilibrium and keep balanced so that we don't burn out. And if we don't have that level of self-worth on a really deep level, which is like keep constantly peeling back the layers, is the fatigue will always be there. And when you actually start to uncover that, and it's not an instant process, the fatigue starts to lift. You get more pizzazz in your step. When you understand yourself on a deeper level, there is more of a zest to life, and you can be present. And this is the battle. This is the constant battle that I see women dealing with. And the way that I explain it is there's this little sweet spot in the middle. And it's what we're aiming for. You're not going to always stay there. You're going to flick between few. You're going to know there'll be sometimes with people that's like, there's an area that I've got to focus on more. Once I start to focus on this and I get this under control, I've also got to focus on this, but maybe this is a bit of a stretch. There's parts in each system that is going to be more of my focus. And then it's like, okay, well, this is the dance. This is the dance between the three aspects of that. And why do we want that? We want that to be able to enjoy life, to feel good, to be in a state of flow, to create more abundance in our life, to attract more of what we want. Yeah. And the fatigue, like it's constant. So many people are exhausted. They're just pushing shit uphill. And this is the reason they're pushing up shit hill is because you don't have the tools in the tool belt to actually deal with this. And for me, when I started on this journey after I had my kidney cancer, nutrition for me was the lowest hanging fruit, pardon the pun. But it really was learning, okay, I've got to start, first of all, learn how to eat properly and remove all the chemical crap out of my body. That was step one. I started meditating, started learning more about food, eating more food, drinking better water, moving my body more. But there was still this part of me that just didn't know how to access that, how to really calm myself down or how to get myself out of that, like self-hate, that despair, that part of me that needed to, I knew it was there on a very deep level and I wasn't quite sure how to access it. And this is where having someone to guide you through that can be really powerful. Having a team of people around you is really powerful. It's really important and powerful. Going, who do I need in my team to support me? You look at the top people in the world. They never do it on their own. They've always got a support team around them. They don't climb the mountain on their own. And I think we've got to start looking at ourselves like we are a pro athlete or we are a CEO of a big company, that we are our best asset, and we often don't. And this is where the fatigue comes from, whether you're a mama or whether you're a business owner or your career is your focus or you're an athlete, like whatever, it doesn't matter. It's really just learning to go, okay, where is the fatigue really coming from? Sometimes it can be a huge part of biochemistry. I'm also seeing a lot of people, after having COVID, having a lot of fatigue, and there's elements to that as well that is very biochemical. Old viruses being switched on, things like Epstein-Barr is being switched on. People are feeling fatigued. The spike protein is active. And so we've got to look at through all three aspects, but if your nervous system is in a state of alarm, you're not moving your body, you don't know how to process emotions, the fatigue is never going away. So I hope this has landed on whoever needs this. If you have any questions, please comment, please like it, please share it with anyone that you think might need this information. If you are feeling really fatigued and you don't know how to get to the bottom of it, please reach out. And if you feel like you'll want to chat, I do offer a free 15-minute chat assessment of you to see where you're at. And this, gets us to have a moment to connect and see where you're at and what it is. And if you are looking for support and looking for help, it's a good opportunity to see if it's something you would like to work on. So I will put the link for that below, but please have a beautiful day. And if you've got any questions, please comment below, and I will see you soon. Bye.